Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, December 6th, 2015. I am so glad that Adam is out of jail. I am overjoyed that this sword of Damocles is no longer hanging over his head, over our head. I am just ready to move on and have a fresh start. He gets out with 5 years of probation, community service, but the judge, by the way, and we should not forget this, gives him a warning that he is on good behavior. If he so much as jaywalks, he's going back in jail. So just remember that when the future unfolds of him paying back Victor's debt and probably being forced to do something illegal, you know that is going to come back to haunt him. For 5 years, he can't do anything. I mean, it's like, it feels like we're sort of off the hook now. We're sort of fresh start, but I am telling you that is going to come back to haunt him. But for now, everything seems to be really happy. Adam gets out of jail. He is reunited with his family, reunited with Chelsea. They have amazing fresh out of jail sex, which surely is the best sex one could have. It was really nice. Adam and Chelsea, they are a darling couple. I really enjoyed them this week. They have, as a soap couple, the actors have so much passion together and the chemistry is through the roof. So I loved the nice and slow lovemaking scene that they had in the upstairs condo bedroom with beautiful lighting coming through the window. I loved the song that played over the scene. I, in general, just feel so very happy for Adam and Chelsea that they're together and enjoying one another and able to be with their son together. The thing that I am not happy about is the fact that I think Y&R is overplaying the idea of Adam as the victim, because I don't see Adam as a victim. I see Adam as a master of his own destiny. And now the twist is that Adam is out of jail, but it did not come at no cost. He has made a deal with the devil, named Victor, his father, and now the devil wants his due. Victor says, now it's time for you to help me bring down Gibeau. You're going to do it whether you like it or not. Don't forget, we have a deal. And there was this scene at the very end of Adam and Chelsea's happy moment where he gets this phone call from Victor, realizes that now he's going to have to do something he doesn't want to do, and Chelsea realizes it too, and they're both embracing, saying, oh, what horrible thing is Victor going to make us do to repay this debt? And the camera kind of pans slowly away from them, and you get this sense of both Adam and Chelsea as the victims in this situation, like, oh no, what's Victor gonna make us do? And something about that, I think Y&R is overplaying that part of the story. And frankly, the part that I enjoyed most about this part of Adam's story was the fact that Ashley called him out. He goes over to her office because Newman and Gibeau offices are together, and he has a conversation with her where Ashley says, I know what's going on with you. You got out of jail, and now you're covering for Victor because you think that he's got all of the control in this situation. So why don't you just take control? I really do like Gina Tognoni's Phyllis, but at the same time, I think that this incarnation of Phyllis comes off as far more nerdy, far more maybe left-brained than the Michelle Stafford version of Phyllis, because the Michelle Stafford version of Phyllis was such a vixen, such an over-the-top, oozing with sex character, and I feel like Phyllis seducing, or charming, we'll call it, Topher, the hacker geek, into recording this video message for Ian. It was almost a little bit unbelievable. I just don't buy this version of Phyllis as being overflowing with that over-the-top sexuality. Not to say that she's not beautiful and sexy, but just it's almost like Y&R still trying to fit old characteristics of Phyllis into the new version of her that maybe don't quite work. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know. How are you feeling about the current Phyllis? I mean, we're in it deep, so I'd love to hear some opinions on that this week. But she does successfully get Topher to record this video message, send it via a secure website that only Ian would check. And sure enough, Ian checks this message from Phyllis, his darling woman, and his new crush. By the way, it's just weird that Ian has been in town and been on the screen so much and has had no real contact with Nikki. I thought he was all obsessed with Nikki, but now it's Phyllis. Apparently he just jumps from one obsession to the next, and now it's all about Phyllis. And he gets her video message. We see for the first time that he is confirmed to be alive and well, and with Patty. I am fascinated, absolutely fascinated by what the relationship is between Ian and Patty, cause I kind of got a vibe like they were sleeping together, like they were in love with each other or something. It was really weird the way she was hanging on him, and he seemed like he really loved and appreciated her. I don't know if it was just for saving his life, or I don't know. What was the implication there? Because I felt like there was something going on. But of course, basically the whole thing is a trap. He sends back a video message to Phyllis, tells her to meet him at his hotel room, sends Patty off with a new identity off to Paris. I don't know if that means she's gone or I can't see Patty just leaving town. I think Patty's going to be back. That's my personal opinion, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But Phyllis shows up, and Ian knows that she's going to bring Victor with her. So there's this moment where Victor and Phyllis are kind of trying to face off with Ian Ward to get, both sides have this thing that they want. And I really did appreciate that little scene in the hotel room, because I really love that Ian Ward is at least a worthy opponent for Victor. And he has this one wonderful weakness right now, which is Phyllis. So Victor pulls like this ninja move and grabs Phyllis and grabs her around the neck and puts her in a chokehold and says, "Disarm the virus or I'll kill your girlfriend." Whoa! It was awesome. But I was thinking, wait, Ian's already got a new girlfriend. It's Patty. I'm team Patty and Ian. What's wrong with me? It was so great though. I loved seeing Phyllis totally choked out, what are you doing, Victor? And Victor's just looking really intense. And, Phyllis is suffocating, turning red, and Ian, of course, has to give in. He says, fine, let Phyllis go. I'll take you to the server. And so Victor says, all right, let's go, grabs Ian's coat even, tosses it out the door. That scene was genius from beginning to end, right down to the coat toss. You can't stand Ian Ward, but you want to make sure he gets outside with a coat. Well done, Eric Braden. Bravo. They show up in this computer room, this server room is what it was, and Victor's saying, all right, we're here, so stop the virus. Ian tells him, sorry, I can't just do that. It's not that easy. And Victor says, oh yeah, well, I'll destroy the virus myself. And he starts going around the room, tossing a laptop off of the table, pulling down a couple of wires, trashing the room, thinking this is the way to destroy the virus. Victor smash. I'm just thinking, Look, I'm not a computer genius, but I know enough to know that's not how it works, Victor. That is not how you destroy a virus. Or maybe it is, because apparently it worked. Victor stopped the computer virus with the sheer power of his wah. Apparently, Billy is the real genius behind the Paragon 2.0. Billy is devastated by the fact that Adam is off on probation, which is surprising to me because I felt like Billy had this very healing moment at Adam's trial where they sort of forgave each other, and now all of a sudden the whole forgiveness thing is just out the window and Billy is on the rampage again. I mean, maybe it's that Billy was able to find a way to forgive Adam but not Victor. It seems like Billy has just moved all of his rage over the loss of his daughter from Adam onto Victor, and now all he cares about is destroying Victor at the risk of destroying himself. It doesn't make sense to me. On any number of levels, the actions that Billy is taking right now don't make sense to me. Why go after Victor and let your relationship with Victoria be damned? After they've worked so hard to get their family back together, they have a new baby. Why is this necessary? I don't know. I mean, it seems like Y&R is putting a permanent wedge in between Billy and Victoria. Victoria's not about to continue to put up with his BS, even though she's put up with way worse of his BS for way longer. For some reason, this seems to be a tipping point for her. In addition to feeling like this doesn't make sense from a Billy angle, I don't know if it really makes sense from a Victoria angle either, because Victoria is disappointed with Billy for choosing to go after Victor, but how many times has Victor come after Billy? So why are you taking Victor's side and not Billy's side? I understand being tired of being caught in the middle of all of this, but why are you choosing Victor over the father of your child? I don't know. It's heartbreaking to me because I was really into this Victoria, this Billy. So it feels like they were just getting back together, just getting happy again, and now it's all over. Christian slash Sully had his christening this week, and Billy comes in and at Phyllis's behest tries to make an argument to Victoria that she should forgive him and they should work it out. And Victoria has hit her wall with him. It's probably the 10th wall that she's hit with him over the course of their marriage, but Victor comes in and he interrupts the whole thing, and we really get to see Billy's full viciousness, full rage unleashed on Victor in that moment, which I thought was great. I thought the actor Burgess did a wonderful job in that scene because I believed it. I believed the rage that was coming out of him. I mean, he had this wonderful line where he said that, he is now feeling like he identifies with Adam in that he hates Victor. He said, Adam, you may think that by helping Adam that you did something to help yourself, but Adam hates you deep in his gut, and that's what makes him whole, which I thought was such a wonderful, wonderful description of Adam's attitude toward Victor and sort of the nature of that father-son relationship, but also it maybe did shed a little bit of light on why Billy is forgiving Adam and not Victor. Maybe he identifies with Adam in that hatred. I don't know, but Victoria tells him to go away. He goes to the athletic club bar where he gets totally wasted. Victor had followed him, and a good thing, because Billy is drinking so much. He's getting absolutely toasted, and he decides to get behind the wheel of a car. Again, another thing that's just totally seems inconceivable to me. He could have run over a child out there. Why would he do something like that? I mean, It's like, do you really want to reenact the horrible thing that could have ruined your life? Thank God that Victor had him stopped. Thank you, Victor, for doing something good. I just feel like we're seeing some character inconsistencies here, and maybe the reason is the recast. We got word this week that Billy has officially been recast, and we knew several weeks ago that Burgess Jenkins was out of the show. And I just kind of wonder if Y&R's pushing the boundaries of what we know about this character because they know they need to find a way to usher Billy off the scene for a while, maybe give him a little bit of a break, and then bring him back as this different type of character. Because I don't know if we're gonna get a real quick, the role of Billy is now being played by Jason Thompson, or if there's gonna be a pause in between and they bring him back as just kind of I don't know if they're gonna send him off on a vacation and bring him back. I'm not sure, but I'm dying to know how you guys are feeling about the recast news. So Jason Thompson is the recast. He apparently played Patrick on General Hospital. So if anybody's familiar with General Hospital, I'd love to get your feedback how he did over there. I don't know. I watched General Hospital just a touch here and there, but it was a long time ago. I don't know the guy. I have no impressions of him whatsoever other than just seeing his face. So it's totally I'm an open book here, but I want to know how you guys feel about it. So maybe you know him, maybe you don't know him, but that is going to be this week's poll question at yrchat.com. Your first impressions of Jason Thomas, I'll put a picture of him up there, and you can tell me what you think about him as the new Billy. Are you feeling pro? Are you feeling con? Are you totally open to it? And of course, feel free to leave some comments in there too, to elaborate and let me know how you think this guy's gonna do as Billy. This happened early in the week, but I didn't want to forget to say it. Why would Nick open up at all to crazy Dr. Anderson after they had that weird confrontation in the hall of the hospital last week or the week before? It was really uncomfortable the way Dr. Anderson was going on about the Newman families, and then he runs into her again and she gives him her card and says, come talk to me if you need to talk about your psychological issues. I'm here for you. Why would he even consider it? He seemed to be considering it. I think that is completely an indication that this whole thing with the baby switch is her motives with the baby switch have got to be related to Nick, or at least in part. I really think we're going to see that it has something to do with that person who broke her neck at the pool party, because I don't know, either that or Y&R just tossed that out there and never went anywhere with it, which to me seems a little bit surprising, but I don't know. I am a horrible person, but one of my favorite parts of the week was when Sage called Faith out on being selfish. Faith is all excited about going to the christening and going to see her little baby brother or sister, and she wants to be with her mom and Dylan. And Sage says, you know, Faith, you're being really selfish right now. Your daddy needs you. And I just loved that. I don't know why, but it was so good I watched it twice. I'm the worst person in the world, and I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. But I mean, come on. Somebody had to put that kid in her place. I mean, Faith, it was pretty immature of you, Faith. and to furthermore not let Sage explain the situation. I mean, they had this moment of, Sage said something, I'm sorry, but it was relatively mild to the little girl, that you're being really selfish right now. And then Faith, goes and cowers behind Nick. Oh, how dare she, Daddy, how dare she say something to me that was unkind. I mean, what a little brat. And then Sage says, oh my gosh, I don't know why I did that. I mean, can you not see being in Sage's position and snapping on that little girl at least once? Come on, let's be honest with ourselves. Have you never just snapped with somebody just because you were having a bad day or whatever? I feel like that's all it was. Sage is like going through something right now. She snapped, accidentally took it out on the little girl, and Faith is like made of glass. She has to run and hide, and then Sage realizes what she's done and totally tried to apologize. And I was with Sage in that moment. I get it. I would want to apologize and have a conversation with Faith and say, I just need you to understand, I'm sorry. I would try to fix it immediately, and yet everybody else in the room is looking like you should have just given Faith her space. It's all about Faith, precious little Faith. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm really bad. Please don't hate me, but I couldn't help it. It's caused even more strain on Nick and Sage's relationship, which of course is going to push her in Adam's direction. But I don't know. I can't help but identify with Sage and feel bad for her. I know I'm alone. I'm the only one out here who feels like this, but I have to give you my opinion and how I'm feeling. That's what I do. So I felt like Sage did a really good job of, despite everything's going on, picking herself up, dusting herself off, and going to Christian/Sully's christening. She's just been through this horrible thing, and she had a moment of saying, I need to not make this about myself. We should go to that christening. She didn't have to, but she did, and they went, and it was really hard for her. I mean, come in. Sharon is standing there in the church, looking beautiful, perfect, glowing, so happy in her white dress. Dylan is standing right beside her, looking like a proud papa. Everybody is just thrilled to have this new baby. It broke my heart, by the way, to see Paul there meeting his grandson for the first time. That was so sweet. Paul doesn't even have a grandson. I think this is his first one. And I also love that he commented on how great Sharon looks after having just given birth. Wow, you don't even look like a woman who just gave birth. That was a funny moment. Everyone's happy. Mariah is the godmother. Stitch is the godfather, and Mariah has to take a moment to tell Sharon about how Sage snapped on Faith, and in order to explain why Faith is all of a sudden like, I don't want to be around Sage. I know she's been really nice to me this whole time, but she had that one time where she said that to me, and I'm never gonna forgive her, and plus she doesn't have my little brother anymore, so screw Sage, mommy. Mariah tells Sharon about that, and I guess I just can't help thinking, why does everybody acting like Sage just like beat Faith or something? It wasn't even that bad. These people are acting like it was a big deal. Faith ain't seen nothing. I mean, this kid is living in a bubble. I mean, Sharon was an angel about the whole thing, but I'm like, my mom would yell and spank my ass. And I turned out just fine, and I'm completely close with my mom. Of course, it wasn't my stepmom, but it was nothing. It was such a nothing. I'm getting too worked up over it. It's bad. I guess at the heart of all of this, I just really like Sage, even though I know you don't like her, but I like her. I've connected in with her story for one reason or another, and when she asked to hold the baby, her baby, at the christening, took the child in her arms, nuzzled him, was just lightly touching his little hat and his little christening gown. She pulls one arm up and just wipes away a tear. I mean, she's looking at him so happy, wipes away a tear from her eyes. I almost had to wipe away a tear myself. It was so sad. Poor Sharon, too. Sharon's a victim in all of this, too. You could see that Sharon had this moment of, I don't know if I want to hand over my child to Sage right now. She's obviously on edge. Should I do this? Is she gonna, and Sharon thinking, Nick thinking, the audience thinking, is Sage gonna break down? Is she gonna drop him? Is she gonna recognize her own baby and freak out? But everything was fine. I'm totally surprised. Sage didn't do anything. All she did was look at the child and get lost in the moment. Sharon is saying to her, Sage, Nick is saying to her, Sage, and she's just locking eyes with her child, staring down at him, experiencing one moment of pure joy, one moment of breaking from reality, and maybe thinking that her own child wasn't gone, which I feel bad for saying that, but I just get it. Just give her this one moment of feeling like this horrible thing didn't just happen to her. I have so much empathy for Sage. I don't know where it came from or why, but she doesn't want Nick's help. And God help me, I sort of understand where she's coming from, because Nick, he is nice. Nick is sweet. Nick has even lost his own child. He'd be a perfect person to talk to, but Nick has no black spot. Ultimately, Nick is not a dark person, and Sage is. She's a dark loner, and she even told Nick later, after they kind of both left the christening, I have always been alone. I've always been this, and I need to deal with this on my own. Except she doesn't. She doesn't want help from Nick. She doesn't want to be around Nick. But Adam, on the other hand, oh, that's a different story. Somehow there's an understanding there. Somehow there's a connection there. Apparently Adam was completely aware of the fact that he was Christian's father. I don't know how I checked out of missing this. I don't know how. I guess I needed it to be explained to me or expressed to me explicitly, and somehow I took all of this as being tongue-in-cheek maybe, and that's not the case. Apparently Adam's totally the father. He knows it. The only one who doesn't know it is everyone else. And now Adam keeps running into Sage, experiencing her grief, and he's wanting to help her, not even necessarily out of just pity, but probably because she was the mother of his son. And he's experiencing loss too that he can't talk to anybody about. So he's going out of his way to help Sage, bringing her into his and Chelsea's home, having dinner, telling her she could stay the night, having Chelsea go prep the guest room. Ooh! We are headed for this triangle, folks. Chelsea, the very last shot, I think, of Friday's show is Adam and Sage embracing and Chelsea coming down the stairs, and we get that shot of her face. And she's looking at this like, ooh, I'm worried. And she should be. I totally snapped on that little girl. I did the same thing Sage did, right? Oh well, forgive me. So I want to just quickly say that I really appreciated Ashley all week. Ashley was bringing me the pent-up anger all week, and she was just lovely and beautiful and perfect. Stitch and Abby are making their wedding plans, and it's cute, and it's kooky, and we've got our wedding planner, and our wedding colors are green and gray or something ugly. Meanwhile, Ashley is so unhappy. She's obviously taking out her rage about everything that's gone on with Billy, everything that's gone on with Stitch, just feeling like she's lost control of her life. She's taking it out on everybody around her. There was this scene where Ashley wants Abby to maybe try to talk to Adam and get him to reveal whatever his plan is or get in close with him or whatever. And it turned into this confrontation between Ashley and Stitch, with Abby just in the background, not really knowing what the real issue is. But it's clear that Ashley is realizing that she has sacrificed her own happiness for her daughter, and now she's going to take it out on Stitch. Luca is in with Victor and trying to be out with Marissa. Luca has agreed to use his family to help Victor restore his empire. I don't really know how that's going to happen. I guess the Santoris are going to give Victor some cash. But Luca's ready to close that deal, get out of town, and say no thank you to Marissa because she hasn't held up her end of his bizarre, indecent proposal. Now, I have heard a lot of people saying this week that they're just not into Marissa and Luca, and we haven't really seen them in a while. I actually think Luca's really hot. I think he's really good looking. I think he looks really good with Marissa, and I feel like when there's hatred, there's usually some passion behind. And bringing Noah into the whole mix, I just really feel like I could get into this triangle if YNR would just give it a little bit more focus. And maybe this is a hint of that. Maybe they're working our way into digging into these three people. Because Luca's like ready to pull out of the deal. So Marissa does what Marissa does. She has this big blow up telling Luca that she hates him, and then she turns around and tries to seduce him, have sex with him into doing what she wants him to do, which is her go-to. That's what she does. You gotta kind of appreciate that about her, right? I mean, you know what she's gonna try. She's got one trick in that bag, and she's gonna pull it out. How many times has she done that? It's kind of ridiculous, but to his credit, Luca decides not to sleep with her, that he doesn't want that, and she has such a visceral reaction to him that he seemingly decides out of the goodness of his heart to agree to take her to their child and help get their daughter away from these people. Well, the thing that is confusing to me is that if it's his child, why wouldn't he want to do that anyway? That's why it kind of dawned on me this week that I wonder if what it is that their child is actually with these people, and these people are his family. You wouldn't like me when I get angry. That was the Who Said It quote from last week. Liam got it right. Ryan, Katie, Victoria, Eric, Jasmine, Astra, Connor, and Amanda, who also says Dylan said it. Also, David Banner from The Incredible Hulk said it like every episode. that really tickled me because I felt like that was a line that came from somewhere. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. So it's funny that was from The Incredible Hulk. Because I'm imagining Dylan saying that and then growing angry and all green and big and his clothes ripping off, and that'd be funny. So let's do another quote from this week. You can tell me who you think said it. Go big and chic or go home. I like that for some reason. Certain lines just jump out to me for whatever reason. As soon as I heard it, I was like, oop, that'd be the Who Said It quote for this week. Go big and chic or go home. You tell me who you think said it. YRChat.com is where you can leave your guess. How about we read some comments? It seems like there weren't as many comments this week. I hear from Gary every single week in voicemails, and I didn't hear from Gary very much until like yesterday. And Gary, I'm not even kidding you, I was worried about you. I was seriously concerned, like, oh my gosh, I hope Gary's okay, because you guys are such a part of my life, and as you become regular commenters, I'm like, I know these people. These are part of my YNR experience. And Gary, I was seriously freaking out. I was really worried about you. I didn't even think about it, but Gary mentioned that he wasn't able to see the show because of everything that was going on in California, and that didn't even occur to me that was interrupting that YNR was being preempted because of that. So it makes complete sense. I wonder if that's why I hadn't heard as much from other people. Maybe everybody had their shows preempted, but I was concerned because I always think, maybe we need to get some kind of YNR community, like the community of YNR chatters that, and like beyond a YNR thing, like, YNR chat support group or something, because I always think, what if something happened to one of you guys and I didn't know it? Nobody would think to tell me. If you just, all of a sudden stopped commenting, I'd be so concerned that I didn't get to hear from you. And likewise, if something happened to me and I just didn't YNR chat a week and you're like, wait a minute, I've been kind of listening to this podcast or watching these videos for 10 years now, and all of a sudden she's not there, wouldn't that concern you? I actually do have instructions that if anything happens to me, these are my YNR chat, passwords and all that, and I want you to let people know. I mean, it could happen. I'm gonna die someday, and I want you guys to at least know where I went. So that's all part of my instructions. But I gotta think about getting something together, like, I don't know, a group or something, so that we can at least like keep each other updated. And the other thing too was that, thank God, Gary finally left me some voice messages, because, and this is what I love about you, Gary, you don't even know that you said this, but you mentioned something about the fact that Faith was being a little brat, and I had already gone through that emotion earlier in the week and thought, I'm just such a horrible, nobody's gonna get this, but this is how I feel. I'd gone through my process of being mad that Faith was being a little brat, and then Gary popped on and confirmed that I wasn't the only one that felt that way, so at least I feel like, okay, I'm not alone. So maybe our group should be like the Horrible People's Club. I'm sorry, forgive me. Let's see, what should I talk about here? Oh, well, for one thing, the poll question from last week was, did Joe try to kill Kane? And 58% of people said yes, obviously. Only 42% said no, there's still more to the story. But I also kind of still think that's fairly close. So we're obviously in kind of a gray area when it comes to, whatever Joe's intentions are. And let's see, who emailed me about this? Jillian sent me an email, and she said, I think that Joe was the one who hit Kane in the fire because Ian doesn't have anything on Kane, unless it's Kane's twin Caleb and Ian Ward knows it, and then there could be a reason. But I was looking too, and Victoria left a comment at yrchat.com that said, I'm convinced that the person who tried to kill Kane was Kane's twin brother. I forget his name. It's Caleb. But I think now he wants to take over his life and is framing Joe. And I'm kind of in Camp Victoria here, because there seemed to me to be a little bit of follow-up on this whole issue just at the very tail beginning of the week. And it's almost, I got the vibe of like, somebody's framing somebody. Like, basically Lily confronted Joe and told him about the whole thing, and Joe was immediately saying, no, Kane is the one that's framing me. So as the audience, I think we're kind of in limbo here, thinking, all right, somebody's framing someone, but who could it be? I don't know the answer to that, but I sort of think it would make sense if we have that X factor of Caleb, and maybe he's sort of working both of these people. Let's see. Oh, Anna left me a voicemail early in the week and said, in Adam and Victor's conversation in the hospital, I think a couple weeks ago, Victor laid out how Adam paid off the lab tech and with the paternity tests. And Anna says, I took this as a nonverbal confirmation that he was Christian's father. I thought the scene in the jail cell was just the first time that Adam verbally confirmed it. I think Adam's Christian's father, that's how I took it. So that was very early in the week. So I just took what Anna was saying, and I'm like, you know what, that's probably it. I was probably looking too deep. I was probably, knowing me, looking for a twist. So I think that clears it up as far as probably how it went down. So sorry if I confused anybody. But what Anna also said in a follow-up voicemail was that Tracy is coming back to Genoa City in December, which makes me really happy. I love it when the Abbotts get together. This could be a wonderful Abbott family Christmas, probably all around the tree, maybe all around that breakfast table. We haven't seen that Abbott breakfast table in a while, so come on, let's do a little of that. That'll make me feel warm and cozy for the holidays. Let's see here. Jillian had also mentioned in an email that I think maybe Dr. Anderson and Sage could be sisters, and they are the daughters of Sandra Allen, the girl that got drunk at Nick's party. I really feel like the more we dig into Dr. Anderson's story and maybe what her motives would be, I'm sort of thinking it's connected to Nick and connected to that incident too. That's just my 2 cents, but it certainly could still have some kind of Ian Ward element. But I don't know. They kind of hauled Ian Ward off. So I don't know if maybe that was the end of his story, and maybe this is what we're focusing on now. Maybe Dr. Anderson had her own motives that were unconnected to him. Connor left me a voicemail that said, can we give Eric Braeden an Emmy? Victor is out for blood and I am totally here for it. I'm team Victor right now. That was a great scene, right, Connor? I mean, seeing him destroy the server room, it was really enjoyable. I love Eric Braeden. I feel like I've got respect for him. He just seems like he'd be such an interesting guy. I like his presence. He's just always been one of my favorite parts of the show, and I agree. Surely he has a cabinet of Emmys by now, I would imagine. Daisy on Facebook really dug into Billy and the character and what we're seeing from him, and she says maybe they should change the name of the show to The Young and the Depressed. I found it very strange that all of a sudden Billy is the one who reintroduced the Paragon virus into the computers. And it's so unlike Billy to not care about people. He would never be okay with creating a fire or allowing a fire to happen to hurt anybody. That's how I feel too. And I really think that we're starting to see a change in Billy's character, not because it's anything character driven, but probably because we are bumping up against this recast, which I kind of hate when Y&R does that. I mean, you get into a character and you feel like you know them, and then they just sort of decide to throw whatever out there that they need to throw out there, and I don't know, that kind of bugs me. I got an email from Beatrice this week, and she's another person who I'm like, gosh, I was getting voicemails from her every week, and now all of a sudden I haven't heard from her, and that makes me nervous. I want to make sure that everybody is okay. And Beatrice says, I must say, Y&R is getting good. I just don't know what the point of Marissa and her husband are, and their daughter Ava, which I kind of understand why people are not necessarily into that story. It's something that Y&R has dangled in front of us, and then this is classic Y&R. They will focus on a story for a certain amount of time and then just not touch on it again, and then we're kind of stuck, and then it's hard to pick up and care about it after we've had such a long wait. I didn't have as many comments this week on YouTube. I go back and look at the comments, and it seemed like everything was mostly related to the winters, and I'm like, I like to really focus Y&R chat on the stories that Y&R focuses on each week, and so I wanted to make sure to say to you guys, feel free to comment throughout the week as you're watching the show. You can go to the blog. I'm always happy to see that people are actually commenting on the blog, because maybe that's a good central place to to keep to kind of form a community and make sure we know everybody's okay. But feel free to comment there, or a lot of people comment on Facebook, not as many people on Twitter, but feel free to continue to leave your comments throughout the week, so that because a lot changes from Friday to Friday, so feel free to keep it going. And I'll end on this comment. Jennifer Hills sent me a message on Facebook that says, "Hi, you're a Y&R fan?" Yeah. I totally, definitely am. Okay, that takes me just about to the end of Y&R chat for the week. I'm so happy that everybody's soap packages have been mailed out, and most of them have been received. I mailed almost everything on Monday, and Victoria is in Canada. She got her package by Thursday, which is crazy how quick that got to Canada from where I am. And then I've been obsessively tracking all the other packages to make sure that I just want to know that they all got there safely. So I've been checking to make sure they get delivered. And there are some, it takes 4 days to get to Canada, and some that still can't make it to New York. What's up? I think probably the Postal Service is overwhelmed with Amazon orders right now. Probably everybody in the world is ordering their Christmas stuff, so I'm imagining that the postal system is really gummed up. But I did also want to say just thank you to everybody. I thought about doing a shout out to everybody who picked up the extra soap at GenoaCitySoap.com, but then I thought, well, what if the people are ordering them for Christmas? I don't want to like call anybody out and spoil their Christmas. I don't want to be responsible for spoiling anybody's Christmas. So how about if you decide to pick up some soap and you want me to give you a shout out, you can just put it in the notes or something. So, but thank you to everybody for all the positive feedback, and let me know when you get your soap. I can't wait, because Victoria sent me a message when she got it, and she said, let me find that comment here. She said that she got her soap, and I'm truly the master of Y&R soap. So, yeah, she seemed to love it. So that makes me really happy, and I do have some other stuff in the pike. If you're a newsletter subscriber, you'll be hearing from me like this week. Enough said. But if you guys want to leave me your comments about the show, again, there's about a bajillion ways you can do it. Voicemail is 309-588-4569. I usually listen, I can see what date you've left your voicemail, so I'll usually watch the day's Y&R and then go back and listen to all the voicemails from that day. So I'm experiencing your voicemails and your passion about the show on the same episode that I've watched it. So that's a really good way to get out your thoughts. And you can also go to the blog at yrchat.com, leave your comments there, and find the links to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, podcast. Everything's right there, centralized. And yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to contact me, and I love hearing from you. I think that, like having my freak out moment of, is anything wrong with Gary, just reminds me how much I really appreciate the fact that you guys participate with me in the show. And I just want to make sure that I'm saying thank you enough for caring. And I mean, even if you're not leaving comments or whatever, if you've made it to this point in the podcast or the video, I just want to say a special thank you, because it means something to me that you care, and I want you to know that I care. So I love the show. I love the show. I love you. And I'm going to be back next week, as long as I don't get hit by Billy Abbott driving around town completely drunk. Then I'll be back, and we'll chat about the show again then. So everybody have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.